What is going on, guys? It is PANJ here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys the Ultimate FPS Increase Guide for Monster Hunter World. With inside of this video, we're going to be further enhancing and optimizing the game to run better on all systems across the board, whether you're on a super low-end potato machine all the way up to a brand new ultra high-end gaming PC. There's going to be configs and optimizations included for everyone with inside of this video. Even if you guys are experiencing more than playable FPS, or you might just be experiencing a little bit of stuttering or any issues, this guide is going to be aiming to improve and eliminate any issues you might be having, and overall give you a nice bump to your FPS. You should be seeing improvements across the board regardless of what sort of system you're running on, with more crisper visuals and more fluid and higher frame rates. If you guys do enjoy this video and are pleased with the results of this guide, please leave a like on the video as it helps me out tremendously. And if you can also share this around with any friends, family, teammates, or anyone else that has Monster Hunter World or is looking to get the game and to get the best performance possible out of it, or just to further optimize it and help them out with any issues they might be having, if you can forward this video onto them, that would be deeply appreciated as well. And feel free to leave any questions, queries, suggestions, and results in that comment section down below, along with some suggestions for other content or other games you might wish to see me cover. And last but not least, if you guys do enjoy content like this and you find yourself following content like this a lot, please do subscribe to the channel and press that bell notification to be notified instantly whenever I upload, whether that's updated guides for Monster Hunter World or other general maintenance videos, or just showing you guys how to get the most out of your machines without having to spend a penny. With all that being said and done, let's get straight into the video to keep this video as fast and as simple as possible. So starting off with inside of this video, what we can actually go ahead and do is we can jump straight into the optimizations. To start off with inside of this, what we're going to be doing is navigating into Steam, going over to where Monster Hunter World is installed. Don't worry if you do not have the game on Steam, just simply navigate over to the directory of the game files. But for any of you Steam users, simply navigate over to Monster Hunter World with inside of Steam, right click on Monster Hunter World and go to Properties. Now starting off with inside of here with a basic optimization for any of you guys who do not find yourself using the Steam overlay whilst in game, whether that's for text chat, talking with friends or chatting or doing anything like that, or using the Steam browser whilst inside of the game, I actually recommend turning off the Steam browser. The reason for this being is it can sometimes introduce micro stuttering and some slight FPS deteriorations on some machines. It's a rare case that you'll be experiencing any of these deteriorations, but for the best practice, and if you don't use this anyway, I always recommend unchecking this to turn this off with inside of the game, as most people don't even use it. Following on from there, what we can then go ahead and do is actually navigate over to the local files tab found here at the top, and we can then go ahead and hit browse local files. This will then bring us into our game directory and where we can apply some optimizations. To do this, what we're going to be doing is starting off by going over to the application itself, which is Monster Hunter World, right clicking and going to Properties. With inside of the Properties tab which opens up, we're going to be navigating over to the Compatibility tab found here at the top. We're going to go down and select the option for disabling full screen optimizations. We can also click on the option for change high DPI settings, and we can find the option for override high DPI scaling behavior performed by, and we can go ahead and actually check that. Once both of those options have been checked, go ahead and press OK. Ensure that disable full screen optimizations is still checked, then go ahead and press apply and press OK. Proceeding on from there, what we can now go ahead and do is actually install our optimized game config files. To do this, there's actually a download link in the description down below for an FPS increase pack which has got everything compiled into it. So you can simply go ahead and download the folder, put it onto your PC, and everything is inside of there, which features all of the configs and all of the optimizations for this video in one neat little package. It's very small to download and it's very simple to follow along with. Simply navigate into the description down below and click on one of the links. If the first one doesn't work or you can't download the first one, click on the second link and download the file. Once the file has been downloaded, put it onto your desktop and you should be given a file that looks similar to this. The icon might be different, but it should be called Monster Hunter World FPS Pack by PANJ. So to actually unpack this folder, you'll need a program called 7-zip or WinRAR. Most of you guys will already have one of these programs installed, but if you don't, simply navigate over to Google, search either 7-zip, or you can search WinRAR, install one of those programs, come back to the video and we can continue on. Once you guys have got one of those programs installed, simply navigate over to the file and you'll have the option to extract here. Once you guys click extract here, you'll then be given a folder on your desktop or wherever you've put the file with an identical name. Once you go inside of that folder, you'll then be greeted with two other folders which are configs and optimizations. What we're going to be doing is actually starting off by installing our customized game config files. So to do this, we're going to be going into the configs folder and you'll be greeted with 4 folders inside of there. With inside of these folders, you'll find the high-end config, the low-end config, medium-end, and ultra-low-end configs. You can go ahead and mix and match these and you can try different ones out. You can simply pause the video and keep repeating this step, and you can try out different configs to see which best suits you. But for the most effective and easiest results, I recommend matching the config name with inside of here to your system specs. So if you're on a medium-end system, go with the medium-end config. If you're on a high-end system, go with the high-end config. You can always go a step down, so say if you're on a medium-end config, you can try out the low-end one. It will slightly deteriorate your visual quality, but you might find that the performance gains from that are more welcomed than the visual quality. But do bear in mind, after you install these configs, you will still be able to go inside of the game and change your in-game settings around if you just want to slightly bump up some things or bump some things down. You'll have full customization still, and this is very simple and easy to to do. So assuming I'm actually recording this video on my high-end machine, I'm going to be going with the high-end config. But for the machine next to me, which is actually my low-end config, I've installed the low-end config to that. So assuming I'm recording this on my high-end machine, I'm going to be going into the high-end folder and you'll be met with this graphics_option file. Now to install this file, it's actually very simple. We're just going to simply repeat the step by going back to our game folder. So again, go into Steam or wherever you have the game installed, right click on Monster Hunter World, go to Properties, go to the Local Files tab found here at the top again, click on Browse Local Files and you'll be brought to the game directory. Inside of here, we're simply going to go ahead and actually drag this folder over to the left. We're then going to go back into the FPS pack provided to find our config we're going to be using. And to install this, we're simply going to be going over to the right hand side to the config we're going to install. And we're simply going to go ahead and drag this file over into our game directory and replace the file in this destination. Once you guys have done that, you have now successfully installed the optimized config for your game. We can then go ahead and exit out both the folders and continue on with the guide. What we can now go ahead and do is ensure that Windows is actually running the optimal power mode to further optimize our PCs for gaming performance. Now do bear in mind that none of this is risky to do. This will not increase heat to your system. This is just further optimizing the operating system itself to tell your system to giving better performance in games. So to do this is actually very simple and highly effective. We're going to be going to the bottom left hand side of our PCs, clicking on the Windows button and typing in power. Once you guys have typed that in, simply find any of the icons with the little battery with the cord going around it. Doesn't matter what the option says, doesn't matter which one you click on, just as long as you see this icon, you can click on any of them. So simply go ahead and click on one of the options. With inside of here, go to the directory at the top and select power options. Now inside of here, go to the drop down menu for show additional power plans and you should be seeing balanced, high performance and power saver. You may see one or two other power plans inside of there, but you can simply go ahead and ignore those. And for the majority of you guys watching, you should not be seeing the ultimate performance power plan. But if you wish to see how to unlock this, and I do recommend you go ahead and do this, as this will give you the best performance with inside of games and pretty much any tasks on your PC, you can follow the video in the top right hand side of the screen now by clicking on the card, and it will take you to the video which will show you how to unlock the ultimate performance power plan with inside of Windows 10. It's a very quick and easy to follow video. It's highly effective. Just simply go ahead and pause this video, go over there, watch that, get the ultimate performance power plan, and we can continue on. But if you do not wish to follow that video and you just wish to follow this one, you can simply go ahead and select the high performance power plan, as that should do a good enough job. So either go with the high performance power plan or the ultimate performance power plan. To select which one you're going to be going with, simply go ahead and just simply check it, just like so. Once you guys have selected the power plan you're going to be going with, go ahead and select the option for change plan settings. With inside of here, you can go ahead and set these two options to anything you wish to do so. They have no effect on performance and they are all personal preference. The options we're interested in going over to is change advanced power settings. With inside of here, we're then going to go over to hard disk, turn off hard disk after, go to the blue setting. It might say never, it might have a number in. Just simply go ahead and click on the blue text, and we're going to be inputting the value of 0. Once you guys have typed 0 in, simply go ahead and press apply. You can then scroll all the way down, go to processor power management, minimum processor state and maximum processor state, and ensure they are both set to 100%. If they're not, double click on the blue text again, input the value of 100 on both of them, go ahead and press apply. Press OK, and you can then save changes to your power options, and we can then exit out of that option. So piggybacking off of that step, we can now go ahead and actually apply an optimization, in which has been included in the FPS increase pack. This is just as important, it's almost one of the most important steps inside of this video, as Monster Hunter World is actually quite a CPU intensive game, and requires a fair bit of CPU horsepower to actually get the best frame rates possible. So this optimization will definitely help out with that, and is arguably one of the most important ones within inside of this video. So to follow this, what we're going to be doing is going into the FPS increase pack, going into the optimizations folder with inside of that, and you'll find the installer for CPU core parking setup version 2110. It's a fantastic utility program, and I install this to practically every single machine I get my hands on. I've yet to see anyone receive negative results from this, and I highly recommend doing this, as this will allow you to unpark your CPU cores. Now whilst we're installing this, I'll give a brief explanation as to what this is, and you'll also be able to read up on the screen now as to what CPU core unparking is. So to install this program, simply go ahead and double click on the program, and it will open up the setup wizard. With inside of the setup wizard, simply go ahead and select next, accept the terms to the license agreement and press next again. Press next to install it to the default location and press install. Once the program has finished installing, ensure that the option to launch the program has been enabled down here at the bottom, and then press finish. The program may take a few moments to open up, and once it does, you might be notified of a newer version of the program being available to update to. Now you can go to the original author's website by clicking on the blue text here and actually downloading the latest version. You'll also be able to read up a further in-depth explanation as to what the program actually does if you really want to get in there and read more about this. But for me, this version is fine, so I'm just going to be going ahead and hitting close. With inside of here, your program should look very similar, but some of the options and numbers will look different. It's very simple. What we're going to be doing in here is simply setting 4 options. So for the first one, we're going to be going over to System Power Plan found here, going into the drop-down menu, and we're going to be matching this option with inside of here to the power plan we previously set with inside of Windows. So if you went for the high performance power plan, select high performance. If you went for the ultimate performance power plan and follow that video, select ultimate performance. Once you guys have matched that, we can then go down to the CPU core parking index found here. This might not be set to 100% for you guys, and if it's not, just simply go ahead and drag the slider just like so, drag it all the way up to 100%, which will unpark all of your CPU cores inside of Windows, allowing Windows to have access to 100% of your CPU power as and when it needs it. We can then go over to frequency scaling index, which is the speed of those cores or the frequency of those cores, and again dragging the slider to 100%. Last but not least, we can then go down to the turbo boost index, which is the maximum turbo speed of those cores, and again dragging this up to 100%. For any of you guys who might be a little bit skeptical or might be a little bit hesitant, this does not mean that your CPU will run at 100% load all the time. This doesn't mean that your CPU will be running any hotter. This simply just means that Windows now has access to 100% of your CPU cores and can put 100% of your CPU power towards programs as and when they need it. Whereas typically you only were running around about 80% of your CPU power, as Windows typically parks or throttles part of your CPU to utilize other programs with. So once you guys have got all of that set, simply go ahead and press apply. You'll then notify that the changes have successfully been applied, press OK, and we can then close out the program. Again, I've never seen anyone receive any negative results from that program, and it's the #1 thing I install on any machine. Following on from there, what we can now go ahead and do is actually apply a quick fix or optimization to our Windows audio options, which can help out micro stuttering with inside of games. Even if you're not experiencing micro stuttering with inside of Monster Hunter World, you might be experiencing micro stuttering on other games, or just to avoid it in the future, I recommend everyone does this. To do this, simply navigate down to your speaker icon in Windows, right click, and go to Sounds. With inside of here, we're then going to be going over to the playback tab in the top left hand side, and then with inside of this option, we're then going to scroll down and find which our sound output device is. This will typically be the one which has the green tick next to it. Your device might be a different name than mine, that's absolutely fine. Just as long as it's your sound output device, it should have the green tick next to it. Once you guys have found your sound output device, simply go ahead and right click on it, go to the properties tab. Then with inside of here, we're going to start off by going over to enhancements. Now inside of here, we're then going to be going over to the disable all sound effects tab found here in the top left hand side and checking that. Once that's then been checked, we can then go down and press apply. Proceeding on from there, we can then go ahead to the advanced tab at the top, go to default format, go to the drop down menu, scroll all the way to the top and find the option for 16-bit 44,100 Hz CD quality. The reason we're going to be going with this is because it's the native Windows sound option for Windows 10. This will typically help games with a lot of audio files that need to be decoded. It will take a lot of strain off of your CPU being able to do that, as it won't have to change the frequency of those audio files and can usually just play them natively. It's quite a small change and it's very quick to do, but I recommend everyone does this, and you should not be noticing any deterioration in your audio quality. I can almost guarantee everyone following this step right now will not notice a difference, but you should be noticing less micro stuttering with inside of games. And if you're not experiencing micro stuttering right now, you can avoid it in the future. So once that's then been set, go ahead and press apply, press OK once again, and that step is complete. Another highly important optimization we can apply to our operating system is to actually navigate into the bottom left hand side, type in this PC, right click on this PC and go to properties. With inside of this tab, we can then go ahead to the left hand side and select advanced system settings. Inside of here, we can go to the advanced tab, go to performance and click on settings. With inside of here, this will typically be set to let Windows choose what's best for my computer, but what we're going to be doing is selecting custom. After we've done that, we can then proceed to uncheck just by simply clicking on all of the check marks with inside of here, pretty much all of the options available. The only options we're going to be keeping enabled are smooth edges of screen fonts and show thumbnails instead of icons. Once those two options have been re-enabled, simply go ahead and press apply. And what we can then go ahead and do is actually go over to the advanced tab found here at the top, go into processor scheduling and allocate the best performance of, set that to programs. Once you guys are done inside of there, I recommend then going down to the virtual memory tab found here and selecting change. Inside of here, this option here at the top for automatically manage paging file size for all drives should typically be checked. If it's not, don't panic, but if it is, we're going to be unchecking this. This will now allow us to actually go in and adjust our paging files. Now, some of you guys watching this are probably wondering what a paging file is and why we're optimizing it. In brief, a paging file is pretty much reserved RAM which is on one of the disk drives or SSDs installed to your machine. So when your RAM fills up, all of that data being processed actually spills over to your paging file to be processed, which is typically either on a hard drive or an SSD. And the only reason we're going to be going ahead and ensuring this is optimized and in the best position possible for your system is because we need that to be running as fast as possible to minimize slowdowns. It's incredibly important, and so many machines have these set up wrong depending on the system specs which are actually installed. So we're going to be going ahead and giving you guys a criteria to follow along with. So to start off, what we're going to be doing is actually deleting all paging files on our systems to clear out any of the old paging files, so we can go ahead and start with a clean slate and install our paging file to the best place possible. So to start off with deleting them, simply go ahead and select the top drive in here, which is typically your C drive, go down to no paging file and then hit set. You'll typically be given this warning, but that's fine as we're going to be setting up a paging file again in a minute. Go ahead and press yes, and we can then proceed to do that for all of the drives in there. Now you might have more drives in here, you might have less, or you might only just have the one drive. That's absolutely fine. Just do this for all of the drives you have available to you. Just simply again, click on the next drive down, no paging file, set, and repeat this step until all of them are set to no paging file. Once you guys are then done inside of there, we can then follow the criteria in the top right hand side of the screen now to find the best location possible for our paging files depending on our system specs. So at number 1, the best place to put a paging file will be on any SSD you have installed to your machine. So if you have an SSD either as your boot drive or any drive on your machine, you always want to put your paging file on that SSD no matter what. Now for you guys who do not have an SSD installed to your machine but you have multiple hard drives, we're going to be installing the page file to the hard drive which does not have our games installed to. Now the main reason we're going to be installing it to the drive which does not have our games installed to it is because the drive with our games installed to it is already being put under a lot of strain, so this will actually slow down our page file. And last but not least, for any of you guys out there who just have one drive installed to your machine, that's absolutely fine as that's our only option, so we're going to be installing our page file to that. So going off of that criteria, what we're going to be doing is selecting the drive to install our page file to. So for me, I actually have an SSD in my machine, so I'm going to be putting the page file on my SSD. So go ahead and click on the drive you're going to be installing yours to, depending on the criteria above. For me, that's going to be my C drive. Once you guys have selected and highlighted the drive you're going to be installing yours to, select it once, make sure it's highlighted in blue, go down to System Manage Size, and hit Set. Once that's done, simply go ahead and press OK. You'll then be notified that a restart will be required for the changes to take effect. That's fine as we're going to be restarting later on anyway. Press OK, press Apply, OK, OK once again, and restart later. And that brings us on to the last 2 steps of this video, which are very quick and easy to do. But before we do them, we're actually going to be going ahead and performing a system restart to ensure that all of the optimizations we've done have properly been applied and we're on a fresh boot of Windows, nothing else is unnecessarily opened, and we're good to go. So simply navigate into the bottom left hand side, go to your power button, right click and hit restart. Restart your PC, come back to this video, and we should be good to go. Welcome back to the video, guys. You should have now restarted your machines, have Steam open, be back on this video, and be good to commence with the last 2 optimizations. And to do this, what we're going to be doing is actually navigating into the FPS pack provided, going into the optimizations folder, and when inside of here, you'll then see the application for timer resolution. What we're going to be doing is simply going ahead and dragging this onto our desktop. And most of you right now are probably wondering what timer resolution is and what it does. What timer resolution does is it actually lowers the amount of latency and input time in between your operating system, the hardware you have installed to your machine, and the game application itself. This results in a lot faster response time, a lot higher frame rates. This will also help minimize any micro stuttering you're experiencing with inside of the game, and just overall give you a much more faster, snappier response with inside of all games, not just Monster Hunter World, and pretty much all applications. Now along with CPU parking, I put this on every single machine I get my hands on. I recommend this program to practically everyone, even if they're not intending on playing games on their PCs. You should be seeing benefits across the board from using this. It's extremely lightweight on your machine, it takes up almost no file size at all, it's a couple of kilobytes. It's extremely easy, lightweight, and incredibly safe to use, and I use this on practically every single machine I get my hands on. So to use the program, it's actually very simple. Before you go ahead and actually boot into your game or do whatever it is you're going to be doing, what you'll do is you'll boot into time resolution. When time resolution opens, you'll navigate to the bottom left hand side and select maximum, which will set the lowest amount of input latency possible. You'll then minimize the program, and at this point you'll then boot into Monster Hunter World or any game you wish to play or any high-end application. You'll then play for however long you wish to do so. Once your play session is then done and the game is closed, you'll bring the program back up, you'll select default, and then exit out of the program, and it is just that simple to use. It's so effective, it's so lightweight and so safe to use, and I use this on pretty much every single machine I get my hands on. And again, I've never heard negative responses from this program or seen any negative results. Following on from that step, what we can now go ahead and do is actually ensure that our GPU drivers for our systems are completely up to date. Now this is more important than ever. I normally recommend doing this in most of my FPS guides, but with Monster Hunter World, both Nvidia and AMD have released game ready drivers for this game for pretty much every single graphics card on the market, offering performance games from anywhere from 5% all the way up to 15% better performance, depending on your video card, just with a simple driver update. It's incredibly important to do these, and you should always stay up to date with your GPU drivers, as they are completely free to get, they are very easy to install and highly effective. So to do this, simply navigate into the description down below and click on your corresponding link for your GPU you have in your machine. If you have an AMD Radeon GPU, you'll be going over to the AMD Radeon site found here. You'll go down to the automatically detect and install your driver utility. Select download, install the program, it'll go ahead and detect and install everything for you and get you up and running on the latest driver. For you guys running on Nvidia Geforce cards, you'll be clicking on your link and you'll be brought to this website here. Again, you'll be going over to the automatic driver updates utility found here at the top, going over to Geforce Experience and hitting download. It'll go ahead and get you guys the latest driver and get you up and running for the best performance possible. And with that being said, we are now completely done with this guide. All the optimizations have been applied, everything is good to go, and we're actually good to boot into our game. And that leaves us just one last thing to do, and that is to go ahead and boot into time resolution, select maximum, go down into Steam, go to Monster Hunter World, and hit play. And there you guys have it, my ultimate FPS increase guide for Monster Hunter World. And again guys, if you did enjoy this video and found the guide effective, please leave a like on the video as it helps me out tremendously. And make sure to comment below any results, questions, queries, or suggestions for more content, as it's always fantastic hearing feedback, results, and hearing what you guys would like to see me do next. And for any of you guys out there who might have discovered some more performance tips and tricks, let me know down in that comment section down below and get a discussion going on so we can get the best performance possible across the board. And as always guys, if you do appreciate the work I do, please subscribe to the channel and press that bell notification to be notified instantly whenever I upload. With all that being said and done out of the way, thank you very much for watching this video guys. I've been PANJ, and I'm out.